What's up, everyone? We are back again with another new comic book day, and this was a big one. DC finally finished up 3 Jokers, and IDW's very anticipated The Last Ronin has hit most shelves. So keep watching this video to hear my reviews and see what I picked up, and stick around to the end to see which issue was my top choice of the week and which one I know you need to be investing in, so stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. AR Comics here, and today I'm going to be going over all of the issues I picked up this week for New Comic Book Day, and let me tell you, we had some big titles. But before I get into any of that, if you are new to the channel, I drop weekly comic book content that includes upcoming book releases, speculation videos, unboxings, and comic book hauls, and you're watching it right now, New Comic Book Day reviews. So if that sounds like something you do not want to miss out on, make sure you hit the subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new content. You won't regret it. And now, without further ado, let's get into the reviews. So personally, I was really looking forward to this New Comic Book Day. A lot of the issues that were coming out are some of my favorite current ongoings, and we finally got to see IDW's The Last Ronin. I know a lot of comic book shops were short what they were supposed to get, so I hope you were able to get yourself a copy. I wasn't able to get Unkindness of Ravens number 2 today, or Bliss number 4. I know, it sucks. I'm going to keep my eyes open for it, but I was able to get 9 other issues that I really wanted to read, and they are all in order. So coming in at number 9 today, we have Shang-Chi number 2. Honestly, I really didn't think I was going to pick up this issue. I didn't really like the first one, but it wasn't that bad. The only reason I picked it up was for this Alex Ross Timeless variant. I love all of these covers. I think this is actually one of the nicest ones that they released this week. But as far as the story goes, it just wasn't for me. It pretty much picked up where the last one left off. Shang-Chi was on his way back home to finally meet his sister after finding out that she was alive, but at the same time, it's like he wants to go home to try to save her, and she just wants to kill him. It's an okay story. A lot of other stuff happened along the way. I don't want to spoil everything for you, but if you're reading this, let me know what you think about it down low, because I don't know. I didn't really like the artwork as much either. It kind of seems a little cartoonish, but I don't know, just overall, not a big fan of this story. I won't be picking up number 3. But next up, coming in at number 8 from Marvel, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 51. This is the main run, not one of the Last Remains tie-ins. And this issue was alright. I know the story eventually had to die back down a little bit, not as much action, but it still progressed the story very well, and I'm still very interested in what's going on. I just felt this issue was a little bit slower, and I really love this cover. I think it only had a cover A this week, no other variants. It's nice and colorful. It matches well with what was kind of going on with the story, dealing with Doctor Strange and the magic, but it really did just focus in on that. They were kind of dealing with Silk because she was possessed by some demon, which is probably Kindred, but they had all their separate issues going on this time. And Spider-Man, he brought in Black Cat eventually. They had some little plans schemed up against Doctor Strange. Something's kind of going on with Spidey. We still don't know everything that's happening, but I'm looking forward to seeing where the rest of the story goes. Like I said, not a bad issue. I knew it eventually had to slow down. I'm looking forward to the next one, though. So now we have, coming in at number 7, one of my favorite current ongoings by Marvel, Immortal Hulk number 39. This is cover A by Alex Ross, and I love this story so far. I love the Immortal Hulk, but I think this issue was a little bit slower. They're still continuing on with the Samuel Stearns arc. And I'm not saying it's getting boring at this point, but it's been happening over so many issues, and the plot is just slowly unraveling that I feel like I need to go back and reread some of these issues. They're in either Bruce Banner's head or one of the Hulk heads, and Samuel Stearns is just really controlling everything in the underworld with like the green door. I think he's got a red door now too. And he's slowly taking over all of the Hulks and pretty much keeping them in this underworld. They introduced the Devil Hulk in the last issue, and I thought it was going to be a very big battle. Thought it was going to be epic, and based on this cover, you kind of thought the same thing. But it didn't really happen. It was a little bit slower. As I was saying, the artwork was beautiful, though. They did a great job with it, and overall, I still do love this story. It was a great issue. It was just a little bit more on the slower side, and I'm hoping it picks up in the next one. Next, we have coming in at number 6, Images, The Department of Truth, number 2. This is cover A. I loved the first issue. I thought it was so good. I was telling everybody about it. I said, please read this. grab this. This is a fantastic story with a great new concept, and I think this is really going to take off for Image. This issue was a little bit slower, but they did a great job progressing the story. The best way, honestly, to describe it is if you've ever had a brand new job and the manager's just kind of showing you around saying, hey, so this is where you're working. These are the new people you're going to be working with. This is exactly how that issue was for me. They were just walking around, meeting all of these brand new people in the different departments in, I guess, the overall Department of Truth building or wherever they kind of are. That's exactly what it was. It was a little bit on the slower side, but they were establishing all of these characters and doing all of these different things, and they kind of established what this plot is going to be. I'm really going to like it. I think it's cool, and let me know down below what you think, because I think this still is going to be a huge series for Image. And now we have coming in at number 5, another huge series from Image in my opinion, Undiscovered Country, number 9. This is cover B, and I cannot get enough of this series. I tell everybody about it. Please read Undiscovered Country. They're doing a great job with it, and this has potential to really go on for a long time. Not to mention, it was recently officially picked up. I believe they're trying to make it into a movie, and I think they would do a great job with that too. But this issue, kind of like the last one, was a little bit on the slower side. I think we're 3 issues into the brand new arc. It was as if the first issue established they're in the new zone, and then they explored a little bit and kind of got to see what the zone was all about. And now they're finally established in this zone, and they're really seeing what's going on here. And they brought back the Destiny Man, so he's making his presence known too. This is going to be a huge arc. I cannot wait to see where they go with this. Do yourself a favor, please read this series. It is fantastic. And now, coming in at number 4, we have DC's Dark Knights Death Metal, Rise of the New God. This is a one-shot, it's cover A. Sadly, I couldn't get cover B, but that's fine. This cover is just as nice. And let me tell you about the story. I loved it. It exceeded all of my expectations, and all of these issues lately have been way better than I could have imagined. The only problem I'm having with this overall run so far is I feel like if you're not reading the tie-ins or the one-shots, you're really missing out on the story. The main run at this point just feels like a main story, but all of the side plots and all of the real details of the story are all in these one-shots, and you're really going to be missing out in my opinion. But this issue started off so strong. Perpetua and the Darkest Night had some massive battle that's supposed to end the multiverse, which brought in a first appearance of the Chronicler. So if you're keeping up with that, it did have a first appearance. He's tasked with trying to find all the information on the multiverse, all the important people that possibly have information. So we just got to see him kind of travel around. They brought in a few different characters, and it progressed the story very well. So that's, as I was saying before, if you're not reading these one-shots, I think it's going to make the main story a little bit more confusing. But if you did read this, let's talk about this one down low, because I really did love this issue. I thought it was fantastic, and just like the last few of them, this series has been exceeding my expectations. And now we have coming in at number 3, DC's Batman 3 Jokers. This is issue number 3, the conclusion to the story. And honestly, overall, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty simple as far as the story goes. It was nothing too crazy like it was being hyped up to be initially. But I think, in my opinion, this overall story was more geared towards the casual fan like myself. I don't know a lot about DC or their characters, but it was just enough for me to understand everything that was going on. And if I didn't know who someone was, it was a big enough name that I could look them up and easily identify them. A lot of the more hardcore DC readers that I've talked to, they said they didn't really like this series. They didn't really think it was anything that they were hoping it would be. But in my opinion, I did really enjoy it. I love the artwork. I think that's what stood out the most to me. And honestly, I've got to say too, I think DC's artwork is way better than Marvel's. I think there's a lot more detail to it. It's not as simplistic, and it just has that grittier, fine look to it that I really enjoy. But since this is the conclusion to the story, I don't want to spoil it too much. But as I was saying, I did really enjoy it. You should definitely check it out. It's only 3 issues, and I know all the stores still have all the issues. And now we're down to my final 2 issues of the week. Coming in at number 2, we have Marvel's Strange Academy, number 4. This is the Alex Ross Timeless variant. I think he did a wonderful job with the Scarlet Witch, and I was also able to grab cover B. I did order cover A, but I don't have it right now. And if you're keeping up with this series, you'll know why I got all 3 covers today. It was the first appearance of the Hollow, and in my opinion, I think this issue is potentially just as big as the first one. This is pretty much the first enemy that's been introduced, and if this series ends up taking off on any sort of levels, well, I think this issue potentially rivals the first one in terms of value goes. But speculation aside, I thought this issue was fantastic. They did a great job with the kids, you saw them in the library, and they just decided to play a big game of tag. While you're thinking this might be a slow issue, it kind of was. But we got to see them, they worked together, all the characters were there, but I thought the really cool thing about this issue was while they were going through different worlds and different dimensions, checking out the different places, you kind of got to see some different aspects to the story. We saw Doctor Strange, he's up to something, and then one of the new kids, he got stuck in the swamps where they initially showed the Hollow off in the first place. I love this issue. I think they did a fantastic job with it. Scotty Young and his team are doing great things with this. I cannot wait to see where they go with this story. And now my final issue of the week, coming in at number 1, my top read of the week, TMNT's The Last Ronin, number 1. I hope you were able to get a copy of this because I thought it was incredible. I love the story, the artwork was fantastic as well. And to be honest, I don't really read any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Probably the last thing I've kept up with was the show when I was a kid, but that doesn't matter. You can jump right into this, and that's what I was worried about. I thought I was going to be lost, but they set the plot right off the bat, and they just go 100% right from there. The story was complete action, and it was fantastic. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you can find this, it already is jumping up in price. Try to pay cover price if you can. If you pay a little bit over, it's totally worth it. Personally, I'd probably pay about $15 to $20 for it. I know it's going for a lot more than that right now, but if you can find something in that price range, do yourself a favor and grab this. This issue was fantastic and well deserved as a number 1 for this week. And now it's the time you've been waiting for, my top investment choice of the week. I think this one was a little bit harder to pick, so I do have 2 issues. Obviously, I had to pick The Last Ronin, number 1. It's well worth the hype. It's definitely above cover price right now, and a lot of comic shops were short on their orders, so that could be a factor in it as well. Do yourself a favor, try and find this. Even if you don't own a copy for investment purposes, you need to read it. It was so good. But the other issue that I'm picking this week is obviously Strange Academy, number 4. I do love this series, but for investment purposes, this is the first appearance of the Hollow. So if anything happens with this series and it explodes or goes up and they decide to do something with it, I think this is going to be the kids' first real enemies, so they're obviously going to pick them to do something. I think this issue potentially could rival number 1 issue in price at some point because, you know, first appearance of all the kids and now first appearance of their first enemies. So thank you for watching my video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you hit the thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming content, hit the subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified. Every time I drop new content, you won't regret it. And I've got 2 more videos sitting off to the side here with more of my comic book content. Click on one of those and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day.